You know, it's funny. Talk to me 25 years ago when I was in my prime, my experimental phase. Oh, the faint memories that present themselves from time to time. But I digress. Ask me then if I would be witnessing a giant green wave of knowledge, health, truth, and love make its way around the world. I'd say you were nuts. What do I think about it? I think it's fan-freaking-tastic. Join us as we understand, educate, entertain, and promote cannabis in the Herbage way. In the weeds. We're here with the owners, Jane and Vic. How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
Good. Man, I can't wait. This is one of my favorite dispensaries, but also they have a grow out back. And I can't wait to show you guys around and talk about all of your products and what you've got going on, and maybe some things in the future.
Both of us worked in the agricultural industry our entire lives. My career was with Deere & Company, John Deere, which is how I met him because the family had dealerships. So, and he has a degree in ag education, and so everything's always been around farming, and now we're farming.
Right.
Just a different plant, but still green.
Yes.
So that's really, I mean, I think, especially for him with his background and education in farming, he's really enjoying it, working with the plants and tweaking different grow methods.
Well, tell me about yourself, man. I mean, what got you into growing?
You know, it's kind of a crazy thing. I've worked for Vic, the owner, for 16 years. They own John Deere. I worked for them doing their managing stuff and IT stuff for them for a long time. And this opportunity come up when they sold out of the business to do this. And Vic asked if I wanted in, and I said, yeah. And we've always had gardens. We've always grown stuff. I've been around it all my life. So we started, and our first crop, we knocked it out of the park. So we were like, okay, we actually are kind of good at this. So we're going to keep going and tweak everything and see how really good we can get.
When we started this, my original deal was like you were talking that I'm a farmer, so I wanted to grow something. And we were told real quickly that if you want to succeed in this business, one of the best ways to do it is to be completely vertically integrated. And at that time, we weren't quite sure what that meant, but had a good idea. But we've gone through it, and it has paid off, and it's taught us a lot, learned a lot. You know, it takes me to go back to my college days, and a lot of the stuff I learned when I was a younger guy, haven't put it back into use, but learning about the strains and how to deal with the plants, you know, it's been very enjoyable and rewarding. Going from raising cows and corn and wheat and having big tractors down to having a little pair of scissors and a microscope.
It is a little bit different.
It is, but it's the same principle. The plants are just like any other animal that I'm used to. You know, it has a life cycle, and you go through it and you learn what it needs in certain times and when it doesn't, and when to change and what to watch for.
Tell us about Farmhouse's grow operation.
Well, we're trying to keep higher standards than what we can buy, I guess. We have a lot of stuff that comes in. We have a lot of people that bring stuff into us that is not what we want to put on our shelves. So growing it ourselves is the best answer for that. We don't do big crops because we can control it better. So we want smaller crops, 60 plants at a time. Every 3 weeks, so we always have a crop coming off, so we can have that higher quality stuff.
So you're doing about 60 every 3 weeks. That's, yeah. I mean, that's good size. I mean, you looking at needs for growth yet?
Yeah. we're hoping to grow into have more dispensaries and supply them. We're also looking to maybe upgrade to a bigger building for our grow, just to maybe hit the wholesale market a little harder with high quality grow.
Cannabis has been part of your lifestyle as well?
Yeah. I definitely believe a lot in the medical side of it. I didn't realize how big of an impact it had until we opened the dispensary. You got a lot of people come in that's never done this stuff before, and if you've never done it, you can't tell people about it. You know what I mean? You can't describe one, what happens if you get too high. What do you do? Or if you need more because it's not taking care of your pain.
I get what you're saying. It's like, now it's kind of like you're seeing it more as a medicine than
absolutely.
Than you definitely did years ago.
Oh yeah, growing up to get high versus now I got people come in, can't sleep, never done this drug in their life, and hey, how do I go to bed at night and sleep 10 hours instead of 2? That's where our experience comes in and says, okay, this is what you need. This is what you're going to take. You're going to start slow. You start on the microdosing, or you start on a low dose. You want an edible because it's going to last you most of the night. And that experience helps us with those customers. It's really changed my outlook a lot, actually, thinking about using that drug to get high versus actual medical, because those people come back a week later and like, I slept 10 hours and I haven't done that in 9 years. Mm-hmm. It's great. So that's the stuff that we are really looking at in this dispensary. That's what we look for.
Right. Yeah. And that's what I love about it too. Yeah. It is a medicine. It's gonna get high too.
Oh yeah, you're definitely gonna get high. Yeah.
Some people like that medicine.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely.
Some people need that medicine.
They do need it. I have friends that's they've been to war. They have the PTSD, and it levels them out. I mean, it's when you're around them and they're not on it, or they're not smoking, or they're not on an edible or whatever. They're edgy. They're hard to handle. It's tough. You can tell it's tough for them to have that life. But when they're on it, man, it's completely different. They can be free. They can talk freely. They can loosen up. It's a big difference for a lot of those guys.
We can grow the best crop there was, but if we don't take care of the drying and the curing, we've just all wasted it away. So there's a lot to it, but it's very rewarding. We feel like that our crops they have a tender, loving care in them. What's amazing to me and to the rest of the people is when we get close to having a new crop come in, the customers really love it because they always want to know what you have new. And they know that what we usually have new is something we've grown ourselves. Put a little of our TLC in it.
Let me ask you this. So you're talking earlier about your customers, and you see people coming in, how it's helping you. How does that affect the strains that you guys choose? Does that come into play?
It does come into play. We always try to keep enough strains. Anything from pain to anxiety to stress to sleep, because there's some stuff that you could come in and not know it, or you go somewhere else and they don't know for sure, and you have anxiety and you get the wrong flower or you get the wrong edible, and it's going to heighten your anxiety, and you're going to have a really bad time. We try to make sure and have strains to cover a pretty broad spectrum of different ailments, and all my bud tenders know when you walk in and say what you got going on, they will know what you want or what you need.
Yeah, that's one thing I like about this place. It's very knowledgeable.
Oh yeah, those guys, I love them to death. We did really good when we got them because they love to learn. They read every time we get a new strain in. They go read everything about it they can.
Yeah.
They like to hand out test results. That's one of their favorite things. They're big on terpenes right now. What terpene matches what your need is, and that's what they like to do. And they're good at it.
Yeah, and they're passionate.
That's
awesome.
They're definitely passionate. They're in it to help the customers for sure.
What was one of the first things that you did that sounds like the major goal for you guys? What did you guys do to make that happen?
Well, for me, the most important thing was creating an environment that was welcoming and open and bright, well lit. In fact, I joke about some of the cosmetic counters when you go to Nordstrom's, you know, how bright and clean they are. And that was kind of the look I was going for. And we're fortunate to have a lot of space here, so we were able to do a lot with our space. But we've had so many people who feel really comfortable coming in here. It's not intimidating. It doesn't feel like a head shop. Like I said, we have people in their 90s, 80s, a lot of people in their 80s who come in, and they're comfortable coming in, and they're very comfortable talking to our staff. Our staff are amazing, and they are also very well educated. They do a lot of their own education because they're interested in what they're doing. And I could probably put our bud tenders up against anybody's in terms of being able to advise, explain what a product does, how it feels, how long it takes to work, and so we've done a really good job with that.
One of the first things that we did was when Jane and I convinced her to go into this business with me, is that we went to Colorado and visited a couple consulting companies and dispensaries, and we've hit some in Oregon and Washington also, but in particular they took us into one in Denver that was a new, and it had a really bright counter, had a lot of colors and coordinating between colors. Didn't go into, you know, sativa and indica. They asked what kind of feeling are you wanting to have, what's your experience you want, what are you trying, and they coordinated toward that. And that's where we came up with a lot of these ideas to kind of, you know, make it that way. Don't you know, make it feel like they have to learn a whole new language. You know, how can we adapt this into your life? And our bud tenders are very good about, hey, what are you trying to accomplish? You know, you're trying to handle pain. You know, people who come in a wheelchair or things like that. You know, what limitations they have. You know, they're very respectful of that. You know, some people because of lung issues can't smoke anything, and they'll adapt that to them. And they'll do research, and as we get new strains in, they'll call people and say, hey, we got this in and we know that you're really looking for it. It's amazing how many people we've, through our connections, have come in and want to try. You know, had an older guy that we were good friends with. He's on oxygen, and he came in and he's having all trouble, and he's having trouble sleeping. So we helped him in. He's like, man, I haven't slept that good in months, and it feels good to help somebody. You know, the guy who has pain in his foot, and we have some cream that'll help him. Or, you know, people, a lot of people with anxiety, you know, to control that. And I had a gentleman who had really bad shingles. It didn't cure the shingles, but it took care of the pain so he could get out, and he's actually functioning again. Really, I mean, it feels good. It feels good to help people.
Well, the other thing that I'm really excited about, and I know we have patients who are getting off opioids. So to break that, you know, health epidemic and get on something that's natural and still provides them with the same relief, but without the addictive properties, we find that really rewarding to be able to get people off opioids.
So you guys won the Cowboy Cup with
Cowboy
that?
Cup, yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
First place.
Yep. First year they had it. You know, there's several of them in the States.
What was the actual title that you guys got?
Best pre-roll. So we'll get a little belt buckle and have it, be able to present it out there. So
That's great.
I think he said they had 68 different buds that got turned in just on the inside grow.
Yeah.
Like 40 something on the outside grow stuff too.
Well, we love the Cowboy Cup. We had a lot of fun there as well.
We take a moon rock, you know, flour dipped in oil, rolled in keef. We let it dry for 2 or 3 days so it's not sticky. Grind it up, put it in a pre-roll, roll it in oil, roll it in keef, and that's what we call the rocket roll. A lot of the whole part of it is how many different ways can you use that plant.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not just selling bud, and it's not just selling gummies. You know, the vape pens, this butter, this wax. You know, how can I turn that in? How can I do it solventlessly versus, you know, solvents?
Well, when we decided to get into the medical marijuana business, it was really important to us to focus on education. We believe in the medicinal properties of the product, the plant, but we felt a lot of people don't really understand what it can cure, what it can help. So we focused on education. We have classes. We've worked with a PhD who's written books on medical marijuana. And we just think that's a really important component of being in this industry, not just selling marijuana, but educating the public. And we have a number of elderly patients who come in regularly, people with all different kinds of ailments who come in and are seeing really good results. We've had, we try to have one a month. We've had a naturopath who teaches about the benefits of CBD because it also has good medicinal properties. We have had the PhD who's written the books. She's taught a class, and we have a class coming up with Ellis Smith from American Cannabis Company. He's going to teach a grow class, cultivation class, and promote their SoHum patented soil, which is what we use in our grow.
Oh, great. So you guys kind of mix it up and keep it mixed up. It's not the same thing every time as far as education goes.
Right.
And we want to get into some classes as we get further into this about, people always want to know about concentrates, how to use a concentrate, this and that, just the basics of that, how concentrates are made, what's the difference between butter and wax and shad.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, this whole thing is a learning process for most of us. I mean, 98% of us. We'll put it that way.
and that's what we did wanted to have a feel that you can come in and learn, and that we're not going to be skeptical, and you don't feel like a dummy. People who want to smoke it but are afraid to people who want to know about edibles. There's so many ways it can be used, but they all have to be educated.
Cool.
Now, can we all just break out a bomb and put it out there and all just take a big hit?
I think so. I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah. Where's the hookah pipe?